Well, there's only one way I can come down now.
At 92,
It's like this.
Kathleen Harris says steps are supposed to be hard. But sidewalks aren't supposed to be steps.
It's a regular obstacle course.
Mrs. Harris hates uneven sidewalks, specifically the cracks, crevices, and downright cliffs that threaten her safe passage here in Oswego, New York.
My patience ran out.
She says sidewalks became her passion in the summer of 2004.
So that's how I looked.
You look beautiful.
Oh, sure. Black eye.
After tripping on a sidewalk, Mrs. Harris filed a formal complaint, asking the city to pay her $879 medical bill.
In its response, the city told Mrs. Harris that they had no idea this particular piece of sidewalk was uneven. The city said by New York state law, until someone puts it in writing that there's a problem with a specific piece of sidewalk, the city's not liable.
So I said, well, by God, you're not going to be able to hide behind that excuse any longer. You're going to be responsible.
To that end, Mrs. Harris got a ruler and a notepad and began the most ambitious survey of sidewalk cracks ever attempted.
Another one.
We asked her to demonstrate for us how she did it, painstakingly measuring and recording any pieces of pavement that were more than a quarter inch off flush.
And then all these jagged edges, I write that down too.
But even more impressive than her detail was her scope. This wasn't just a survey of her street or even her neighborhood. To ensure all residents of Oswego would be covered, Mrs. Harris spent the next 3 years walking nearly 100 miles of city sidewalk, documenting each and every potential tripping hazard.
Thousands and thousands of them.
Meet Michael Smith.
Perhaps as many as tens of thousands of them.
Oh my God.
Michael is the public works director, one of many city officials who received Mrs. Harris's final report.
Did you read them all?
We perused them as best we could.
Well, that means those bastards have just thrown them away.
At this week's Common Council meeting, city officials insisted they haven't thrown them away, while Mrs. Harris insisted they better not have.
If anyone calls on your sidewalks now, you are responsible.
You have to wonder if they all just wish she'd moved to Buffalo. But Mrs. Harris is staying.
You should run for mayor.
Yeah.
You thought of that?
Yeah.
Look out, Oswego. It's unclear whether her research really does make the city responsible for future falls. I wanted to talk to the Oswego city attorney about it, but Katie, she didn't return my phone calls.
Well, maybe she will now. Meanwhile, go Mrs. Harris. And if she runs for mayor, she's got my vote. She'll have to clean up her language a little, though.
Okay.
Well, I'll campaign for her somehow.